Nobody will remember your excuses, only your results, the presentation that never happened. It was 8:15 on a Monday morning. The conference room was already filling with people. Managers checked their laptops. Colleagues exchanged greetings. The company was about to choose someone to lead its biggest project of the year. 35-year-old Michael sat quietly at the back of the room. Inside his briefcase was a presentation he had spent 3 months preparing. He knew the numbers. He knew the strategy. He knew he could do the job. But when his manager asked, "Is anyone ready to present a proposal?" Michael looked down. Maybe next time. Someone else stood up. The meeting ended. The project was assigned. The opportunity disappeared. On his drive home, Michael replayed the moment again and again. He kept telling himself, "I wasn't ready. The timing wasn't right. I needed more experience." Then his phone rang. It was his grandfather. "Come by this evening," the old man said. "I have something to show you." Michael had no idea that one conversation would change the direction of his life. The wall of forgotten excuses. His grandfather lived in a small house on the edge of town. The walls were covered with old photographs, military medals, family portraits, business awards, books, certificates. The old man slowly walked toward one framed photograph. It showed him standing proudly beside the first truck he had ever purchased. "I bought this when I had almost nothing." Michael smiled. "You must have had perfect timing." His grandfather laughed. "Perfect timing? My boy, the engine barely worked. I borrowed money. I made mistakes. I was afraid every single day." He pointed around the room. "Do you know what people remember?" Michael shook his head. "They remember this truck. They remember the business. They remember the results. Nobody asks how many nights I couldn't sleep. Nobody remembers my excuses." Then the old man looked directly into Michael's eyes. "The world doesn't celebrate intentions. It remembers outcomes." Those words settled heavily in the room. The farmer who never waited. The next weekend, Michael visited his grandfather's old farm. A neighboring farmer was planting seeds beneath dark clouds. Michael asked, "Why are you planting today? It might rain too much." The farmer smiled without stopping. It might also rain exactly enough." Michael laughed. "But what if the conditions aren't perfect?" The farmer placed a handful of seeds into Michael's palm. "Tell me, has a perfect season ever existed?" Michael remained silent. The farmer continued, "If I waited for perfect weather, I would never plant. If I never planted, I would never harvest." Then he looked across the fields. The harvest never rewards excuses. It rewards those who planted. Michael stared at the seeds. Suddenly they looked like every opportunity he had postponed. Dreams don't grow because conditions are perfect. They grow because someone decided to begin. The habit of finishing. The following Monday, Michael made one decision. He would finish everything he started. Every email, every workout, every chapter, every promise, every difficult conversation. No more leaving tasks half done. The first week was uncomfortable. The second week was exhausting. The third week was different. He noticed something unexpected. Confidence wasn't appearing because life had become easier. Confidence was growing because he was becoming reliable. He trusted himself more. His colleagues trusted him more. His manager began asking for his opinion. People noticed something Michael had never intended to display. Consistency, not brilliance, not talent, reliability. Results begin long before they become visible. They are quietly built by people who refuse to stop halfway. The opportunity returned. Nearly 2 years passed. Another major project became available. The same conference room, the same managers, the same nervous silence. This time, Michael stood before anyone else could. He presented his strategy, answered every question, accepted every challenge. Weeks later, the announcement came. He had been selected to lead the project. After the meeting, a co-worker approached him. "You're lucky." Michael smiled politely. Lucky? They hadn't seen the early mornings. The weekend spent learning. The evening spent improving his skills. The promises he had kept when nobody else was watching. Success always looks sudden to people who never witnessed the preparation. The promotion wasn't created that morning. It had been created long before anyone noticed. 20 years later, Michael returned to the same office. Only this time he entered as the company's chief executive officer. A young employee nervously knocked on his office door. "I've been thinking about applying for a leadership role, but I don't think I'm ready." Michael smiled. He recognized the fear immediately. He opened a drawer and removed an old photograph. It was a picture of his grandfather standing beside that first truck. My grandfather taught me something. He said people remember results. They forget excuses. The young employee looked thoughtfully at the photograph. What if I fail? Michael smiled. Then you'll learn. But if you never begin, the only thing you'll master is making excuses. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Sometimes the most important lessons need silence to settle. The legacy you leave behind. Imagine your life 20 years from today. People gather to celebrate your journey. They speak about your character, your courage, your discipline, the lives you changed, the work you created, the family you built, the dreams you pursued. No one stands up and says, they had excellent excuses. No one remembers the mornings you wanted to quit. No one remembers the fear you carried. No one remembers how uncertain you felt. They remember what you finished. They remember the promises you kept. They remember the person you became. Every excuse feels important today. Almost none of them matter tomorrow. But every action leaves a mark. Every completed task builds confidence. Every difficult decision shapes your future. Every promise you keep becomes part of your legacy. Do not spend your life protecting excuses that history will never remember. Spend it creating results that inspire people long after you are gone. Because your children won't inherit your excuses. They'll inherit your example. Your friends won't remember your intentions. They'll remember your impact. The world will not measure your life by what you plan to do. It will remember what you actually did. If this message challenged the way you think, subscribe to the Legacy Mind, where every conversation is designed to help you think deeper, live wiser, and become more. Remember this: excuses comfort you today. Results speak for you tomorrow. The life you build will always be remembered louder than the reasons you never started. Nobody will remember your excuses, only your results.